I've learned in life is that when you find that something is uncomfortable to talk about, that is probably when you should be talking about it. And that's how I found myself where I am today. Because I got to a point where I needed to embrace my whole truth, everything about it. Because before I used to be a perfectionist. I wanted everything to be perfect. I didn't believe in failure. I mean, the shame that came with failure and everything just kept me in my comfort zone. And staying in your comfort zone is not really where you want to be if you have to grow. So I got to a point in my life where I knew I needed to do something different for things to work. So here is this Nkambe girl sitting here. Here is my story. So I started this platform because I thought there was not enough people out there, especially in our community, who are ready to start having these uncomfortable conversations. And until you are comfortable enough in your discomfort, I don't even know if that makes any sense, you won't move to the next stage in your life. And I had to learn this the hard way, unfortunately. But I started this platform in hopes that many people out there like me, who are probably still struggling with whatever it is that life is throwing at them, will not have to go through the trouble of learning the hard way like I did. That's why we're sharing these experiences, to inspire somebody out there, because I was inspired. Anyway, so I met BK. Again, he says he doesn't want me, he doesn't like me calling him therapist, but that's what I'm comfortable calling him. So he says it's strategic intervention. So I met him when I had hit rock bottom in everything, literally. Like, I was done. My marriage was over. I was a few months to actually initiating, I was about 2 months to initiating a divorce, full blown. And then God sent him to me through my sister-in-law. And that only happened because I had accepted that I don't know it all and I don't have it all. So I'm not coming to you today on a high horse, far from it. I'm not coming to you because I'm perfect or because everything in my life is blissful or incredible, like you see on Instagram and Facebook and whatever. No. I'm coming to you because I have decided to own my brokenness. I've decided to own my whole truth. I've decided to own my failures, my successes, and everything that comes with it. I'm not coming to you with a perfect story, because the failures and everything that happened contributed to a beautiful story. Okay, so, like I said, everything was going south, and I had given up, and I was not ready to work on anything. I was like, this is it, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. So, long story short, we had our first conversation. And then I realized that I had spent so much time consumed by my own anger and my own hurt. Actually, I used the anger to cover up how deeply hurt I was and what I was going through. And it was everybody else's fault except mine. But then, when I started talking to him, that was not the case. Because he made me understand that our choices, which lead to consequences, the consequences are what we grow from. But we cannot play the blame game. We cannot blame everybody and everything. It's easy to blame. So that's the easier way. That's the easy way out. We like quick fixes. So it's easier to always blame somebody else for your mistakes and everything that happens to you in life. So he is the one who has actually held me accountable for every decision I've taken since I started talking to him. Because, I mean, it's great to have friends. I believed in friends and family, talking to friends and family before, like when I had issues and all of that. It's great. I mean, these people are well-meaning, you know. But the difference is, a professional is a professional. A professional is not subjective. Your friends and family will be subjective in whatever they are telling you. It's natural. But a professional, the family members and friends, one, they are not objective. Two, they are not trained. So if you want to be mentally fit, if you want to go on that journey to grow, then I think I don't even have much to say. I just want to tell people today to go and experience it. Because the moment I started talking to him, my life turned 360 degrees. I am a lot happier now. And I've learned that not only happiness is I've learned to feel or to be in touch with all of my emotions, because you cannot be happy all the time. That's the truth. But talking to him and knowing him in this capacity has made me understand that. Okay, I'll go to the comments later. So it's made me understand that you can only grow by taking responsibility for your own actions and for your own contributions to whatever the problem is. Because blaming everybody else just makes you look like a bigger coward. And it doesn't help you. What's the point of failure? What's the point of making mistakes when you cannot grow from them? So those are the things that are, in fact, if I sit here, I can be on all day talking. But I just wanted to tell you guys that it is important. Don't let anybody tell you that therapy or counseling or strategic intervention is such a white people thing, or it's just something that you go and sit and talk to somebody and you have somebody listening to you. No, that's not the case. That hasn't been the case for me. You know, people, I've heard people say, oh, the one they don't, na stress, na frustration, you make, yes, na, when you see anybody who has become a motivational speaker, na frustration, na, you know, I mean, what else could have inspired me to start this platform? I have seen my life transform. Auntie Temi and many others, you can testify. You can testify. Bless your heart, Auntie Temi, because you were behind this. You stuck it out with me and you told me, Kiki, get the help you need. Get the help you need. And here we are today. And I couldn't be prouder. I couldn't be prouder of that decision I took. I couldn't be. So, without further ado, hey, now me I talk grammar so wonderful. I know good English here. I wanna leave that in. So, I'll introduce the mystery man, and we'll see how the gist goes, you know, down the line. But I'm going to be bringing Uncle BK in now so that he can. I mean, guys, this is your opportunity, because, you know, counseling, therapy, some of the setbacks are usually financial and, like, they take time and money. Therapy takes time and money. So that's why people get discouraged, but it depends on what your priorities are. Whatever is important to you, you're going to invest in it. So if you get here, use this opportunity first today to ask all your questions, and then I will be giving the bills later. So guys, meet Uncle BK.
I'd like to say hello, everyone.
Oh, let me put your music.
Can I have a thumbs up if you can all hear me? That's amazing.
Thumbs up and hugs.
I'm not sure where you're calling from, but I'd like to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whatever hour of day or time of night it is where you are. I'll just wait for Nancy to join me so we can get started.
I'm here. I'm here now. Guys, I hope you're sharing. Oh, in fact, I will start take picture of what they share. I hope you're sharing. This is a very important message. We need to start this domino effect now. Okay. Sorry, Uncle Vike, the floor is yours.
Nancy said something which is So this is the part where I'd like you all to just breathe. Take a deep breath. And get in touch with you. Can I just check that you can still hear me? The volume is low.
You can move closer to the head if they cannot hear you. If they cannot hear you, you can move closer.
So, I've just talked about Nancy and Cyril and the journey that they had. I made a few notes, which I hope I'm not going to need. But having talked about these two, let us move on to talk about life and what it is. So who are we? Why are we here? We've met and greeted two people who greeted their challenges, who overcame their challenges in the most phenomenal way. And Nancy is here today. She did say, if I remember correctly, she said something to the effect that there was nothing to be ashamed about what it is she does. And that is very important. Because when you start the journey that Nancy took on, you're starting a journey that goes inside. It's a journey that looks on the inside. It doesn't look at what is out there. Because if you choose to look outside of you will find a lot to be miserable about. You will find so much to complain about because your focus is outward and not inward. So Nancy and Cyril, like she said, they were on the verge of disaster. And I'm talking about cataclysmic disaster. Nancy called me and she said, this couldn't go on, it had to change. And I asked her the typical question I would ask anybody: why does it need to change? She gave me 1,000,001 reasons as to why Cyril was the problem, and he's a perfect gentleman. I understand the conflicts that come when two people can't relate, when two people can't see eye to eye, when two people can't set their differences aside to take the time to understand the other person not for who they are, but for who we want them to be. So, let me get back to the beginning. I'm sure you will realize that when we started this, it was a bit all over the place. Lo and behold, that was deliberate. In life, if you're not afraid, if you are afraid of making mistakes, if you do not overcome that fear and that scare of making a fool of yourself, looking like you don't know where you're going, trust me, you won't get anywhere, because you will coast. And the very things that you fear will hold you back. They will keep you right where you are. And every last one of us has got a purpose. We're here for a reason. The question is, are we ready to find out? See, because that's your journey. I've got my own journey. And part of my journey is to help you find you, become you, experience you, embrace you. Start your journey and take you to where you're going. No, it is not therapy, and we're going to talk about this. It is not counseling. I don't like that either. These labels confuse us. We take the label, we give it a meaning, we articulate that meaning, and then we become, what's the word they call it again? A stereotype. I'm going to introduce every last one of you to you, so you get to understand you better, and you see what your triggers are. I promise you, and I do not promise you as the vehicle or as the person who will do it. I will surrender to the being that is above all beings. Like I said, some of you call that being Allah. I call that being God. She is here, she is there, she is everywhere. And yes, I said she. Because God never really introduced him or herself to either of us as male or female. We are all made in his image, for those of us who believe, and it doesn't matter what you believe in. We all are one, and that is what I'm going to demonstrate here today. We should stop being scared of our differences and get a hold of our strengths. So again, at the beginning, things looked a bit confused. That's because I have absolutely no problem making a fool of myself to the whole world. I don't mind looking confused because that doesn't define me. I define me. And if I can be steadfast in my definition of who I am, and if I can have full control of me, I can guarantee you that I will get to understand me better, and the world will be at my fingertips. The world will bend over backwards to meet my needs, and hopefully not my wants. Because understanding yourself gives you power. It gives you a sense of responsibility. And that is the most important thing that we're looking for out here. That notion of understanding the self. This brings me slowly to what I call Mindset Boulevard. I'm sure we've all traveled at some point or other in our lives. So you get to the airport, and there's this runway. You have people who come from different parts of the world, and they all have one thing in common. They've got a purpose. They need to travel. You've got all these planes on set. It's the same location. It's the same runway. Some of them bought the same plane. Others bought different planes. They all take off from that main location. Some on the same runway. Others on different runways. They're all going to a destination. And even when they get to their destination, they have different responsibilities. They have different things they are going to materialize or to activate or to articulate when they get to their place, to their destination. Why am I talking about this? Before I explain, let's talk about the person who has not boarded a plane yet and who can't quite relate. If you have driven a car, then it's the same thing. We all have a GPS, Global Positioning System. So you get into your car. You could be in your car alone or with a group of people. It's the same vehicle. You're all going to a destination. But what you're going to do at that place when you get there is different. You could have two people set out from point A, get to point B. It's the exact same location, the exact same address, but they're both responsible to produce different results. Which is why you don't want to look at your neighbor. You may see what they're doing, you don't understand what it is, why they do what they do. So there is no comparison. Let's bring this back to Mindset Boulevard. So we've got all these runways, we've got all these tracks if you're driving a car. And the question is, where are we going? How does that relate to your mind? Now the mind is a runway, a place where all thoughts, your thoughts, rally. They come together, you make sense of them, and then you translate them into their physical equivalent. Which means you tend to live your life in your head first. It's all in your mind. You think about what it is you want to do. You think about why you want to do what it is you want to do. And if it is check, 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 as in, you're doing the right thing for the right reason, not the right thing for the wrong reasons. Or, conversely, the wrong thing for the right reasons. When we do the wrong thing for the right reasons, or the right thing for the wrong reasons, there is confusion. There is an internal conflict, which means we achieve our goals and objectives, and the more we achieve, the emptier we feel on the inside. And the question is, why? Have you ever asked yourself that question? So you see people who achieve to their own demise, and the question is, why? You look at me and you think, oh wow, I'd want to be Uncle BK tomorrow. He's smooth. He's just quaint. He's everything you aspire to be, but you don't know Uncle BK's pain. You don't even know if I'm happy with the life that I have got, because I could just be fulfilling my parents' dreams. And if that is my life, then believe me, I would be 10 times more miserable than you could ever be with absolutely nothing. Because success, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, has absolutely nothing to do with what you have. Success is everything to do with who you are and how content you are on the inside. So the mind, again, is this place where your thoughts rally to make sense. That's the place where your thoughts rally, you make sense of them, you give them momentum, you give them direction. They go out in the world, they multiply, and they bring back fruit. Whatever fruit they bring to you is a direct function of what you put out. So check your life. If you do not like what you're getting, with all due respect, check what you're putting out. We will look at a number of facets we'll look at different things. And like I said at the beginning, I promise you, everybody will have something to go home with. I will answer most of your questions before you ask them. Yeah, that's a promise. For now, you don't believe me, but we'll have this conversation again at the end of this track. And then we'll see how it goes. So Mindset Boulevard is an initiative that's really all about you.
Sorry.
Mindset Boulevard is all about perspective. So we take perception out of the equation and we replace it with perspective. You get to understand who you are, what your triggers are, your shortcomings, your strengths, your pain, your frustrations. You get to understand why you feel like you're going around in circles. You get to understand why you feel like you're blocked. We pick that apart and you can decide what direction you want to take your life. Because it's all about the mind. And we will put that into perspective in a minute. This brings me to the concept of BK. Who am I? I'm sure you're all wondering. That's a hard question to answer because I could give you an eloquent construct that defines something that I would have put together to represent that which I want you to see me as. That would be hogwash. Doesn't matter how hard I try, because at the end of this conversation, you would have made your own opinion and had an impression of who you think I am. And I'm good with your definition of who I am, as long as I do not let that affect, impact, or influence my ability to look at you, tell you I love you, circumstances irrespective, regardless of whether you loathe, despise, admire, project, or revere me. As long as your opinion of me doesn't change my opinion of me and how I articulate me and how much and to what extent I stand for good. By good, I mean a cause, following a cause that is greater than the self. Ensuring that whatever it is I do empowers you, regardless of whether you are friend or foe. So who am I? It's a difficult one. I have been called so many things by so many people. As Auntie Neris would testify, I had to write that one down to share with you so I don't leave anyone out. So I've been called teacher, I've been called philosopher, I've been called pastor, I've been called priest, spiritualist, I've been called shrink therapist, I've been called spiritual guide, I've been called life coach, counselor, psychologist, mentalist, psychotherapist, good listener. And it's amazing how sometimes the very people who call me a very good listener tell me I don't know how to listen in the same sentence sometimes. So as you see, I'm different things to different people depending on what shows up when we interact. And I like to keep things that way. I read something a while ago. It has stuck with me. Words are neither the best purveyors nor the best conveyors of meaning. I'll say that again. Words are neither the best purveyors nor the best conveyors of meaning. And why is that? Let's park that to the side and come back to it in a minute. So yes, today is really all about you. We're not going to talk about me. But through my engagement and my interactions with you, I'll get to discover me a whole lot more. And that's what's more interesting. So who are you? I'm sure every last one of us has got a parent or have parents. They may or may not be with us today, and I respect that. For the parents who have moved on, I would say rest their soul, rest their souls. But two beautiful people came together once upon a time, and you did not exist, but you're here today. At the time, you were just a thought impulse. You were a thought in their minds. You were just energy. Nancy, move the background, please. Okay. Let us start from there. Thought and energy. So these two people thought about you, they came together. And because of the love they had for one another, or lack of, you were born. It is important to take note, to be cognizant of the fact that before that happened, you were everywhere and nowhere. So these two people come together and they form you from absolutely nothing. Now you have been born and you're asking for love because you are the product of love. You demand love from these two people, and it is not subject to debate. And we understand that does this journey really begin? Let me introduce you at this point to what I call are 6 human needs. So as we're born, we all want to be safe, secure, and comfortable. A roof over our heads, 3 square meals a day, a paycheck maybe to ensure that we could repeat that cycle. Now, what would happen if you went through life? Look at COVID. What would happen if you went through life and you repeated that cycle over and over with nothing else to do? We get bored. And so from there, the next thing is, we want a bit of variety. So I've just been, can everyone hear me?
Let's see.
Can I just check that you can hear me? Someone just
Guys, can you hear him? Somebody just called to say, yeah, please kindly speak loud. Can you hear? Please just comment if you can hear him. Okay, yes. Carry on. Yeah, I can hear you. Okay.
There is something else I want us to talk about. But let us get to the part where we look at how we function.
Yes, this is
I'm still low. May have to come closer.
yeah. If you want me to, after moving, they don't need to be seeing you.
That's okay. It's okay.
You can always move it down. Let me move it closer to you because we don't have a mic, so
Okay, so that's fine.
I'm struggling to hear you. Guys, can you hear him better now?
Can you hear me now better?
They said they can hear me, but not you. So you're really low.
Okay, let's, can you hear me now? Okay, I just saw a thumb go up. All right, so, so every last one of you, every one of you is here today for a reason. We all carry pain. I can see, okay, I can see thumbs up, which means you can hear me now. Thanks for that. So we all suffer with something. We're all dealing with something wherever we are. And how do we deal with the things that we struggle with? Let's go back to the mind, because that's where it all starts. So it starts with a thought, and thought is energy. Let me link that back to the concept of you. So as an individual, you are an organism. You are a corporate, a full organism. You call yourself, I call myself BK, you may call yourself Sandra. You may call yourself Peter. And when we look at our relationship, now it feels like we are separate entities. But what happens when I zoom in past you, if I go past the different systems that make up your organism, your respiratory system, your digestive system, your nervous system, I then get to the point where I meet your tissues or your organs. If I continue going past your organs, your tissue, I continue with your tissue, your cells. From your cells, I get to molecules, then to atoms. And if I take that atom and I put it in an electron microscope, what do I see? I see space, 99.999%, just space and nothing else. Which means we're not really who or what we think we are. And this is where it gets really deep. Because you and I are just energy, and that energy we express as thought. So when we think, we generate emotions, which is what I would call energy in motion. And that energy in motion is what we translate into our feelings. Depending on whether we're feeling pain or pleasure, the meaning we give to a particular event, the meaning we give to a particular experience is what we take with us. From our feelings, our actions then take their rise. And from those actions, we get what we call our behavior. Then the question is, how does this behavior affect us? Does our behavior work for us, or does it work against us? Let us look at the different things we struggle with. I would like to talk about a few concepts. Compromise, trust, conflict, perspective, and how these all fit in the grand scheme of things. I'm sure we've got mothers with us today. Connecting to our struggles. Amongst us, we must have mothers, we have brothers.